Hello, Anne. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good, 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 good. I'm okay. I can't get rid of this little piece right here that it's hanging there, make me look like I'm a off-duty. There, it just disappeared. I look like a Secret Service agent or something with a little earpiece in there. But that's called my IFB, and you have one too.
Yes, I do.
Right on. Uh, um, yeah, everything is good. Between the last time we did this and tonight, I have been to Atlanta to shoot uh, some non-noir alley stuff for TCM,
Great.
which may pop up during the course of our conversation. Um, but uh, and I was in Atlanta, of course, when the news came about Netflix's purchase of Warner Brothers Discovery. I've never even gotten used to it being Warner Brothers Discovery. I still can't believe that I say that. I've gotten used to typing WBD, but and I know that most people that I've seen in the media, the sky is falling. It's the end of Hollywood as we know it. And my only comment in that regard is it could be worse.
Yes.
It could be worse. So we'll see how it goes. And of course, isn't it weird how over the past few years, many times on our wonderful little fun thing we do here, I can't believe how often I've had to talk about corporate stuff that people think is going to destroy the world as we know it. And
Oh,
and while I don't deny that, it's going to take a lot longer than people realize for the end to come.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, now Paramount's wants to buy Warner, so
it's a hostile takeover bid.
a hostile takeover bid. Yeah.
Yeah, and they think they have the president's support behind them because anyway, there's
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff going on there that quite frankly doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
I mean, just because I can't afford to be interested because it would just ruin my livelihood.
Yeah.
So I'm I will say, however, that it is not the worst case scenario. And I do have, even though I'm not in a position to really be um, speak openly about it,
Yeah.
I do know some things that make this whole thing somewhat tolerable and allow me to tell TCM fans, at least, that the sky is not falling
Yeah.
yet. But I've been saying that for like 3 years. It's
Yeah.
not. Just hang on. We're going to turn. But you'll all see. You'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, let me put it this way: America has a lot worse things to worry about right now um,
Yes.
than the fate of Warner Brothers.
Um,
It will continue on. Anybody could have said Hollywood is collapsing. It's a combination of to me, kind of the model, the movie making model has failed, and besides the corporate merger mania that threatens to put everything in the hands of just a few people, the model is failing and needs to be rethought. So that change is inevitable in that regard. So that's all I'm going to say.
okay. So I am Ann Hawkins. I'm the Director of
Oh,
Communications for the Film Noir Foundation. This is Eddie Muller. He is the president and founder of the Film Noir Foundation. He also, in case you're wondering why I was talking about TCM, he does have a show called Noir Alley on TCM. And yeah, so that's good.
and we'll be doing Noir City Film Festivals presented by the Film Noir Foundation all during 2026. And tonight we're probably going to uh, talk about the upcoming festivals. So that's kind of fun too.
Yeah.
Uh, and if we were not the wonderfully low tech operation we are, you could cut that so that the introductions precede all my rambling nonsense about Warner Brothers Discovery, but why do that? Right. I mean,
Right.
I like the low techness of it all, where I'm giving my opinions about stuff before people tuning in even have the slightest idea who I am.
Yeah,
What about you?
and I like shooting live to tape. I think it's more fun, and that way, you know.
I think we have a fairly dedicated following here. We might have to change that technique if we want to expand the audience. But I think right now we certainly have our regulars, and we'll see we'll see how many of those regulars show up in the questions tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to
Yeah.
you want to get it rolling here? You want to just
Yeah.
start us
Yeah.
off?
Oh, one more thing though, since we're talking about, so if you watch us on YouTube, if you could like, share, subscribe, that would be great. Help get the word out about us. If you're enjoying it, tell your friends about it. Okay.
Yeah,
So
by all means, by all means.
okay, so let's go to our first question. And this is from Steven. I recently saw 1941's Blues in the Night, a B-level musical that had several noir aspects, not to mention a Betty Field performance that could have been the model for Anne Savage in Detour. But I don't see this film mentioned in my noir references. Should this film be considered an early proto-noir along with I Wake Up Screaming and Stranger on the Third Floor?
Well done, Anne, putting this question at the top of the list.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, because I guess this is airing on the Thursday night after Noir City Christmas.
Correct.
In the Bay Area, at which we announce our schedule for the Noir City Film Festival in January. And Blues in the Night is an opening night film at Noir City, along with Black Angel, starring your favorite Dan Duryea.
Yay! I love Black Angel, some of my all-time favorites.
There you go. So you're getting Black Angel and Blues in the Night, because I'm embarrassed to say I forgot to bring the poster into my office, because we have the posters, which are all over social media by the time this is on. So you'll see those. But the theme of the festival is Face the Music. And the films have either a musical theme or the characters or musicians or something or other. So Blues in the Night finally gave me, this festival finally gave me the opportunity to show Blues in the Night, which is not easy because we had to get I'll tell you about that in a moment. But to Stephen's question, Blues in the Night, which was made at Warner Brothers in 1941, nobody had thought or even uttered the words film noir at this point. And so it's a dark melodrama with music, but it certainly has noirish aspects to it, not the least of which, as Stephen notes, is Betty Field's very dangerous and mean-spirited performance in the film. But it's just a film that slipped through the cracks, probably because there's no major star in it. I mean, they did it kind of as a vehicle to promote this actor Richard Wharf, who is the star of the show and is a very noir character in it. It's his band. I can't remember his last name, but his character's name is Jigger in this film, like a jigger of whiskey, and which is appropriate. And also, it's a cool movie because Elia Kazan has a pretty big supporting role in the film, the biggest role he ever had in a movie, and he's really good in it. Anyway, so the film, however, is just impossible to see. It really was something that kind of slipped through the cracks. And, because it wasn't a John Garfield movie or, a George Raft movie or something like that, there was not a lot of significance placed on it in terms of restoration and preservation. In fact, we are bringing a 35 millimeter print. We have to import it from England because there is no 35 millimeter print of the film in the United States, which will give you an idea of just, how far between the cracks this fell. So I'm glad that happened, and I'm glad we're able to show it, and everybody can see for themselves. It remains to be seen how many other festivals during the course of the year it will appear at, because we pull a big audience at the festival in Oakland, which allows us to underwrite the cost of bringing the film in from England. Not every festival will want to have that added expense, so it may fall out of a few other fests, but I'm hoping that it resurfacing at Noir City will perhaps give the film a little fresh life. Yeah, but I mean, it's not, yeah, I mean, obviously I am considering it an early proto-noir, but I'm more making it fit with this year's theme of the festival than I am trying to say that it's an overlooked essential film like I Wake Up Screaming or Stranger on the Third Floor. Those movies, are truly noir. You can feel it in every frame, and they're written by people who are, have noir DNA and all that stuff. And Blues in the Night is a more marginal film, but it fits our theme.
Isn't Jack Carson in Blues in the Night?
Jack Carson is in Blues in the Night,
cool.
As is Priscilla Lane and some other folks. But Betty Field is really good. I was very ignorant of Betty Field until she just never showed up in movies that I was seeking out until I saw the Alan Ladd version of The Great Gatsby, and she played Daisy Buchanan in that film. And while I don't know if that was good casting or whatever, did you see years ago I showed the film Flesh and Fantasy at Noir City, and she was the woman who played the quote unquote ugly woman who wore the mask so that the guy would fall in love with her. That performance, she is great. And yeah, she's more a stage actress than a film actress. And there's a real staginess and theatricality about Blues in the Night, and it's obvious that that was part of the reason that they cast her in the film. But she is really something in the movie. She's pretty scary. Okay, so we're going to get Michael from Post Falls, Idaho, right out of the gate, batting second. Michael from Post Falls, Idaho. Okay. He asks, this is funny, are there any plans for a follow-up to Noir Bar, sort of Noir Bar Hit Me Again? And if so, would Eddie consider including a Ramos Gin Fizz, the preferred concoction of Coral Chandler, Lisbeth Scott, and Dead Reckoning? Looks interesting. What are its ingredients and history? A question in the middle of all of this. Well, here's the deal, Michael. I have a cocktail that I included. It's not from Dead Reckoning, inspired by Dead Reckoning, called the Dead Reckoning is the name of the cocktail, which is a very complicated kind of, I guess it's like a tropical tiki kind of libation, which I thought fit the humid tone of Dead Reckoning. And I just like the fact that there was a cocktail called the Dead Reckoning. But a gin fizz, a Ramos Gin Fizz, is simply gin and lemon juice, simple syrup or sugar, egg white, I know I'm not forgetting anything. That's it. Orange flower water. That's the little key secret ingredient. Orange flower water. And all of this, you dry shake this, meaning you put it in a shaker and you shake it all up without ice, because that's what you always do when you're making a cocktail that has egg whites in it. You do not put ice in when you shake egg whites. So you get this big foamy head that appears, and only at the very end do you throw some ice in to cool it down. And then you strain it into glass and add a little chilled club soda. And that's it. And then what that does is it makes the foamy head on the drink caused by the egg whites. It makes, when you put the soda in, that head rises to the top of the glass, and that's it. My parents used to drink Ramos Fizzes all the time. And if you include the egg yolk in the drink, it's called a golden fizz.
All right.
Actually, this is I know this is far more booze talk than you want to hear, Anne. I know, but it's interesting that they call it a Ramos Gin Fizz when traditionally, I think a silver fizz is made with just the egg whites, a golden fizz is made with just the egg yolk, and a Ramos Fizz is made with both. That was the way I learned it. But I've noticed recently that most Ramos Fizz recipes just call for egg whites, no egg yolk. Now I'm done. No more booze talk. That's
okay. No, I have a booze talk story. So I was in Trader Joe's like a couple weeks ago, and they had, right by the checkout line, they had this huge display of gin and tonic in a can. Mm-hmm. And so I said to the kid checking out, I said, I can't believe they made gin and tonic and put it in a can. And he's like, well, why? I said, it's the easiest drink to make. It's gin, tonic, and lime.
Yeah.
Or lime. And he
I'm
said,
impressed, Dan, that you remember lime. The lime is essential.
The lime is essential. You have to have the lime. And and so he said, well, sometimes you just like need a gin and tonic at hand. And in my head, I thought, man, if you need canned gin and tonic, you have a drinking problem. But then I explained to him, no, seriously. And he said, well, what kind of gin should I use? I just said Hendrix off the top of my head. But it was just like so funny to me because but Trader Joe's is like that because they also have seriously, I still remember this. They sell an appetizer and all it is mozzarella rolled in prosciutto. It's like, who can't handle that? You buy some prosciutto, you buy some mozzarella, and you're like, I understand, I'm not going to make spanakopita or strudel from scratch. I get it. Yeah. But, I just feel like gin and
it's so funny. For the last hour, I have been studying a recipe for traditional French bouillabaisse that I am determined to make. And it's so complicated and it's so involved that I'm really excited to do it. But if you can explain to me, or if any of our listeners can explain to me how it is that we have a culture in which, I'm just going to say it, excuse me, the older people listening will applaud. We have a culture where young people are less active than they have ever been in history. They sit in front of a computer, and yet somehow they don't have time to make a gin and tonic, so they have to buy it in a can. Or mozzarella and prosciutto, all of this stuff. When Ben Mankiewicz asked me, he said, what, because he doesn't really drink. He drinks, but he doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't get much out of it. So he says, why do you drink? What's with the cocktail thing and all that stuff? And I said, I love it. It's a ritual. It helps me relax, at a certain time of day, my work is over. I'm going to go make a cocktail. And the making of the cocktail is as important as the drinking of the cocktail. And just the fact that you're being convivial, and like Kathleen and I will just say, hey, it's time to stop, sit down, talk to each other, have a cocktail, decompress, all that kind of stuff. It's that's the whole point of it, right? Yeah. So I'm a little concerned about a world in which everything has to be in a can, everything has to be instant gratification, this and that, because I can't actually make it myself. That's why I go out and my niece went to Berkeley. She's at IU now, but she attended Berkeley, and I would go over to visit, and there were all these robots running around on the street delivering food to the students.
Yeah, you wonder
Seriously?
why. Okay, I'm gonna go off. You wonder why the obesity rate is so huge in this frigging country? It's because everybody eats ultra processed food. You need to learn to cook, and you need to meal prep. And it drives me nuts because I'm so busy. It's like I work 2 jobs. Every friggin' Saturday, I meal prep. I go buy my groceries and I meal prep for the week. And I have to eat 5 times a day to get enough protein. So,
Okay.
I mean, and it's also so much cheaper. Like, I don't understand
Oh,
how people can afford, like, especially if you're not even going and picking it up yourself. I mean, you're paying like all these fees.
oh yeah. To
It's
pay to have it
crazy.
delivered to you and all
Yeah.
this stuff. It's
Yeah.
absolutely insane. It's berserk. Anyway, we down this path lies peril. We should not we should not continue on it. But I'm with you, and I'm glad that you cook and all that kind. You know, I'm a big believer that, like, I have no use for men who can't take care of themselves, who
Me neither.
believe it's like, oh, I've got to find a woman who can, like, you know, iron my clothes and cook me a meal and all that shit. I think that, you know, if you can't figure out how to fend for yourself, like, you know, this sweatshirt, I spilled a huge thing on this sweatshirt today, and
Yeah.
I cleaned it off. I cleaned it off myself with a clean towel, some water, and a little dish soap. And I got the stain out and let it dry in the sun because I wanted to wear this because it's cold in my house today. So, you know, I didn't throw it into the basement to wait for Kathleen to come and wash it. You know, I cleaned
Yeah.
it myself. I can actually, you know, sew a hole in my clothes. I can sew buttons on anything. I can't make clothes, but I can
Oh,
I
yeah.
can
Yeah.
repair
Me either.
them. I can repair them, and I am a very good cook, and I can fix shit. Sorry, but I just, you know, I just reupholstered the chairs in my kitchen today in
Yeah.
between writing scripts. You know, it's like you got to know how to do stuff,
No, no, it's so funny. I
not
was on,
just make a gin and tonic.
yeah, which is an important skill too. Oops.
Okay, I think it's your turn now.
Sorry, guys. Let me just do something. Oh, got it. My turn now. So
Okay.
this is from John in Burbank. You've most likely been asked many times before, but what do you consider the sexiest scenes in film noir to be?
Don't end your sentence with a preposition, John. What do you consider the sexiest scenes in film noir? That's the end. Okay. Am I a little amped tonight? Does it
You
seem
are a
like
little
I'm a little amped
laughed.
tonight? I don't know. I don't know. It's like, okay.
Oh,
This is a good question. I'm hoping you have some suggestions as
I
well.
do.
Um, right off the top of my head, I'm going to say the shower scene in Thieves Highway, right? Where Richard Conte is taking a shower in Valentina Cortez's little crib down on the waterfront. And, you know, he's taking the shower, and there's just, I think that scene is so incredibly suggestive and so sexy because he gets out of the shower and he's all wet, and, you know, and she plays tic-tac-toe on his
Yeah.
chest, and they play it together on his chest. You know, that was, to me, that was probably the most, I mean, subversive is too strong a word, but it was the most clever subversion of the production code, because, you know, there's no rule against a man having his shirt off. God bless Clark Gable. And it happened one night. You know,
Yeah.
there's that kind of started that whole thing. But you know, it was just amazing, and it's playful and everything. But man, the look in her eye when she's doing that is unmistakable. You know, so that's one. And then another weird, and most of these scenes that I think of, it has to do with the production code. It has to do with how they circumvent the code in clever ways, because you can't there can't actually be touching with intention in any of these things, right? So I was thinking a few weeks back, I showed Blind Spot on Noir Alley, and there's that weird scene where Chester Morris rubs his face in Constance Dowling's hair when
Yeah.
they're sitting in this bar. And to me, the whole thing just was so incredibly weird and sexy, and she's just so beautiful that it's like, wow. It's the intensity of the scene is dampened a little bit by the fact that he's drunk as a skunk.
Yeah.
But she is just a specimen. So those are two that occurred. I mean, and I didn't want to go with the typical, Rita Hayworth and Lady from Shanghai or Gilda is, she's obviously, sexy as anybody who's ever been on a movie screen, just doing nothing. So there are those as well. What about you?
Fallen Angel, the scene where Dana Andrews kisses Linda Darnell.
Yeah,
Like I almost passed out. I felt like he was kissing me. That was like an amazing scene. It was like, oh my God. And then I don't consider it a noir, but Clash by Night. When Barbara Stanwyck first kisses Robert Ryan and she shoves her hand up his shirt
under his t-shirt, under his very thin wife beater t-shirt. I hate calling it that, but
yeah,
that's like a standard term now for it.
Yeah.
That is remarkable.
Yeah.
And scratches his back,
Yeah.
That is good ones. And
Thank
Linda
you.
Darnell in Fallen Angel is like off the charts. She is so sexy in that movie.
Yeah.
Just again, not really doing much,
Mm-hmm.
And I will. Well, I'll save it. I have a little confession to make, but I'll save it for later in the show. But there are four of them. I mean, there's stuff just like Ava Gardner and the Killers just lying on the bed.
Well, Ava Gardner doing anything is
Ava
sexy.
Gardner doing anything, but she's wearing that like Angora sweater or something, and she's just lying on the bed, and she doesn't have to do anything. It's pretty remarkable. Anyway, so those there, John, we gave you 5. I hope that was satisfactory, and I hope none of them are what you expected. Okay, our next question is from Kevin. We didn't know where Stephen was from either, but Kevin says, stepping away from the usual femme fatales, booze and smoke, what do you consider to be the funniest moments in noir? And he cites Sidney Greenstreet picking up the chair, inspecting it and slowly sitting down in the Velvet Touch was quite funny. I'm glad you saw that. I'm wondering if you saw that on Noir Alley, because I believe I showed it not that long ago. The actions clearly reflect a realization of self and does not simply serve to move the plot along. Well, that's good writing. Okay, funniest moments. So obviously, I think Kevin is talking about funny moments in movies that aren't meant to be funny, right? So
I think that are meant to be funny. The films aren't meant to be funny, but the
moment is.
The moment is, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's why I'm leaving out, like, Rex Harrison and Unfaithfully Yours, who cracks me up. Every time I see it, I just laugh. I can't help myself. I just laugh uproariously at his stupidity and and how funny he is in that movie. This is interesting. A funny, well, I find Frank Jenks is always funny in a movie. So there's a scene in High Wall with Robert Taylor and Audrey Totter where Frank Jenks plays a drunk in a bar. And just like you're saying, it doesn't simply move the plot along. In that case, Robert Taylor and Audrey Totter are trying to escape from some people, and they go into this bar and they kind of hijack this drunk guy to get out of the bar and into a cab and all this subterfuge. And he just thinks we're having a good time and going to a party. And nobody played a drunk better than Frank Jenks in movies. And they must have just extended this scene. And I don't know, there's no explanation for it. It just keeps going. It goes on and on, like at least 3 minutes longer than it needs to be, just because he's so great in this scene. So that's one. And then there's stuff that people that I think is funny that I don't know if it's supposed to be funny or if other people think it's funny, because there's a lot of stuff in Kiss Me Deadly that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Just because Ralph Meeker is such a prick in that movie. That, like, when he slams Percy Hilton's hand in the desk drawer, I laugh every time, just because it's Percy Hilton and Ralph Meeker is so gleeful about crushing this guy's hand. The sick little smile on his face when he does it is pretty great. Do you have any ones that you like?
Yeah, I like in what's the movie with Beverly Michaels where she's works at the bar?
Wicked Woman.
Wicked Woman. There's a scene like when she gets home from work and she like sits down in this chair and props her big feet up on this like footstool, and she's got her beer in her movie magazine, and it killed me. I laughed so hard, and it completely establishes her character. I mean, it was just funny because like normally with femme fatales are all smooth and seductive and sophisticated. She's just
no, yeah,
not
yeah,
that's
good.
Yeah. So
she's like comically trampy in that.
Yeah,
in that movie,
exactly. She's just great in it. It does say like everything like about her character. I liked it very, very much.
And again, Percy Hilton.
Percy Hilton's also in that, and gets it also is this is the worst for wear by the end of that.
Did I ever tell you the story about that movie? I heard this story because I forget where I heard this, but I'm believing it, probably because I want to believe it, that somebody in Hollywood told me that Percy Hilton had a 3-sheet poster from Wicked Woman up in the living room of his home because it was his favorite movie that he ever did. And it drove his wife crazy because she knew that it was only up there because he like made out with Beverly Michaels. Right. I mean, I'm using that euphemistically, made out. I mean, he actually like tries to rape her in the movie, and it's pretty gross. But yeah, it left its mark on him. So, and he had this 3-sheet poster in his living room. I thought that was pretty funny. Okay. Your turn again.
And this is Richard, and I don't know how to pronounce that.
Gualala. He's in Gualala. I love Gualala.
Gualala, California. I recently read The Fallen Sparrow by Dorothy Hughes and thought it was decidedly inferior to her books In a Lonely Place and Ride the Pink Horse. The plot is convoluted and the writing somewhat awkward at times. A film was made from The Fallen Sparrow starring John Garfield and Maureen O'Hara. It does not seem to be available for streaming, and I'm wondering whether to purchase the DVD. Are you familiar with this movie? How does it compare with the novel?
Well, you're not wrong, Richard. I mean, the book is not anywhere near as good as In a Lonely Place or Ride the Pink Horse. It's like it's not her first book. The So Blue Marble, I think, was her first novel, but she was learning to write. She was clearly an aficionado of Hammett and Chandler when she was writing those first books, and hadn't yet, in my estimation at least, she hadn't yet found her true distinct voice. So the books aren't up to snuff completely. But the movie is great. I mean, Fallen Sparrow the movie has the same problems that the book has, but it benefits from a really great John Garfield performance and Nick Musaraka's fantastic cinematography. It has a great score and soundtrack. Maureen O'Hara is ridiculously beautiful in that
She is
movie.
so beautiful in that film. I could
Yeah.
not stop staring at her in that film. In the black and white lighting, in the way she was lit, she was so
She's radiant.
stunning.
She looks like she has light inside her in that movie. It's just incredible. I'm sure Nick Musaraka loved photographing her in the film. And the direction's not bad. Richard Wallace directed that, and it's pretty good. So, and I don't think it gets enough credit for being, like Stephen was saying in his first question, for being like an early example of film noir, because it utilizes all of the techniques that would become, de rigueur in film noir. Um, but it's 1943. I mean, it was released in 1943, so it's a little bit ahead of everything else. So, it's before Phantom Lady and Woman in the Window and Double Indemnity and all this stuff. So it is part of about a half dozen bona fide noir films that came out before 1944. It still has flaws, but purchase that DVD, Richard. There is absolutely no reason not to. Okay, and this is Ken. It is my turn, right?
Yes.
Okay, Ken from Oklahoma says Nocturne has one of the most interesting opening shots in all of film noir. Do you know how they managed to pull it off? For folks who have not seen it, you can come to the Noir City Film Festival, Noir City 23 in Oakland, California, on January, what day would that be? The 17th. Saturday, January 17th, we'll be showing Nocturne at the
Tickets
festival.
available at northcity.com.
There you go. We'll be showing it on a double bill with a film I have never shown at Noir City. I don't know if anyone's heard of this. It's a little picture from 1944 called To Have and Have Not, with a couple of unknown, obscure actors in it. And I think one of them is making their movie debut in that film. But anyway, Nocturne is a George Raft movie. And it's about a Hollywood composer who is murdered, and George Raft plays the police inspector who's trying to figure out which of the women in his little black book could have bumped him off. And the shot that Ken is talking about, which was a special effect, a very, very well done special effect. It's like the beginning of Mulholland Drive or something. Like it's up above Los Angeles, and there's this beautiful house. It looks a little bit like the Stahl House, the famous Stahl House up in Mulholland. It's not, but and then the camera kind of floats in, and it just keeps approaching this house like what would today be obviously a drone shot, and it enters that, it goes right through the picture window and enters the house. It's pretty extraordinary shot, and part of that credit goes to Harry Wilde, the cinematographer, but most of it goes to the craftspeople who created a very, very realistic miniature of the house, and so it's all just a special effect. And then there's a imperceptible dissolve, I believe, when it reaches the plate glass window and then it's in the house. It's just obviously the frame of the window has disappeared so that they can just go right to the interior shot and have this very imperceptible dissolve between them. It's a really cool shot. It's not unlike the one that I think they were inspired, because it's an RKO film. I think they were inspired by Orson Welles, because he used a similar shot in Journey into Fear, at the beginning of Journey into Fear, and I think they just took it one step further. And I'm not going to say Nocturne is a great film, but it's a really, really entertaining film produced by Joan Harrison, the great Joan Harrison, her first film that she made at RKO. Okay,
Okay.
Is it time for the lightning round?
It's time for lightning round.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So Brian in Toronto asks, I saw the Decks Ran Red from 1958 with James Mason and Dorothy Dandridge years ago. And the plot sounds like a noir, but generally is not described as one. What is your view?
I don't know because I haven't seen it. I know that's like hard to believe, but
okay. I haven't seen it either, so this is a bust.
Okay, the Decks Ran Red. Is that an Oliver? Is that an Oliver Stone? Andrew Stone movie? I usually don't go to IMDb when I'm doing this, but I'm trying to remember who directed that movie. Hang on one second. That's with James, right? Hold on. Decks Ran Red, 1958.
By the way, people can get passports at northcity.com, which is our full series.
Yeah, that's the Andrew Stone movie. Yeah,
it is Andrew Stone movie.
Yeah, one of the Andrew Stone movies from the 1950s that I have not seen. I do believe it's the movie where they actually sink an entire ship. There's one movie he did on a ship where he actually bought the ship and sank it. So I'm sorry that I can't offer more intelligence or more intelligent thought about that movie. But if you don't mind my taking a quick detour from the lightning round.
Sure.
Because one of the things that I did when I was in Atlanta, and I'm not going to go into this in any great detail, but this made me think of it, was we were there to shoot the New Year's Eve show because all 5 hosts are there for New Year's Eve. And it's a very different, unexpected kind of program for New Year's Eve. It's all romantic comedies. But also while we were there, we're trying this new thing, and I thought it was a complete success, called Movie Confessions.
Yeah.
And each of us had to confess to another host about a classic movie that we have not seen.
All right.
Like that no one would believe when you say, I've never seen that movie.
Yeah.
And it's funny that my confession, I've already cited it on this episode. My confession was It Happened One Night, which I had never seen until this came up, right?
Yeah.
Because when they said we were doing this, I, of course, pulled out a list of like the 100 greatest Hollywood movies ever made. And I'm going down the list, seen it. And then I got to It Happened One Night, and I had to confess, like, yeah, I know this movie, but I've never actually seen it. Right? Which is kind of astounding given that it's like the template for every romantic comedy made in the 1930s, it seems. Anyway, it was, I'm not going to go into it in any huge detail, but it was pretty funny. And of course I got to rip Ben pretty good when I was tossing to his show, because I said, and then up next will be Ben Mankiewicz, who will confess that he has never seen any classic movies. So I hope they leave that in, because I intentionally did not record an alternate take of that toss so that they would be forced to leave that in.
The John Ford method.
Yeah, exactly. Don't shoot a second shot. They have to use it. So, but I'm going to ask you, Anne, what's your confession? Is there a classic movie? Doesn't have to be a Hollywood movie, just a movie that everybody in the world has seen, and you're like, yeah, I guess I'll get around to it someday.
Let me think. I mean, for a long time it was Breathless, which I finally saw. And then for a long time it was also Red Shoes. Red Shoes, I was holding out to see it in a theater, and then we actually played it. So I was delighted because I finally got to see the movie. That was one where I was just kind of like, I just don't want to see it until like I get a chance to see it on the big screen, So I was glad I waited on that. Yeah, it's so funny because the things that are popping to mind are just more like, Brute Force.
You still haven't seen Brute Force.
Yeah, I have a really hard time with prison films. They really,
Okay.
really distress me. And I know it's a great film, and I just have not been able to get myself to watch it. In fact, I think I own a copy,
Hmm.
but I just,
Interesting.
yeah, because people
Yeah,
always
but
ask,
well, that's your your status as the director of communications for the Film Noir Foundation talking,
yeah,
because Brute Force is a it's a classic noir,
I guess that's true.
but
Yeah,
it's not a film that like everybody is supposed should have seen or is supposed to have seen. It's not on anybody's list of the 100 films you must see before you die.
yeah,
It's uh it happened one night was more like that.
yeah, yeah.
Alicia admitted that she had never seen Bridge on the River Kwai,
Oh, it's a great movie.
right?
Yeah,
And I'm not going to go into what everybody else said, but
yeah.
it was pretty interesting. Both of our female hosts, it was war movies, because I just don't think that women are go out of their way to track down and watch a war movie.
Yes, that's because they didn't grow up with a brother who was obsessed with World War II. I've seen a lot of war movies.
Yeah.
In all
Okay.
fairness,
Okay.
I think Bridge on the River Kwai, I actually went to see that. I loved seeing that because it was after I lived in England, and Alec Guinness is so bloody minded the only way an Englishman can be.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
character is so English, so it's very. I don't know if all Americans really understand that when they watched it. But for me, it was like, oh my god, he's so English.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
He's great. It's a great
it's a fantastic
performance.
performance.
And I love Bill Holden in that movie too. He's just great. But I want to go back. It's so funny how I completely destroy the whole concept of the lightning round. I digress so much in the lightning round. It's like these are supposed to be the quick answers.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take this moment to say, have you seen Nouvelle Vague, the Richard Linklater
No, I have
film about the
not.
making of Breathless?
No.
It's surprisingly fun. It's good.
Okay.
It's very affectionate, but it's not just a you know wow, they were all great, they're geniuses. Godard's the they play Godard for some laughs in the film.
Yeah.
His pretentiousness and his overbearing intellectualism and everything is
Yeah.
is pretty entertaining. And the guy who plays Belmondo is fantastic. He doesn't really look like him, but he totally embodies him and gets his physicality and his walk, and he recreates the death stagger at the end of the film. It's like to a T. It's just perfect, and it's so beautifully photographed, and the actress who plays Jean Seberg is really, really good. And it's just fun. It's
Yeah.
fun because they go out of their way to show all of these significant people in the history of French cinema that the average viewer is going to be like, who's that? Who
Yeah.
cares about Jacques Rivette and Pierre Rissant and all this stuff? But if there's a guy who plays Jean-Pierre Melville in the film, and it was very enjoyable. I thought I would hate it. I thought it would be precious and just an arty cinephile thing, but it's not. It's very enjoyable. Big year for Linklater. Between that and Blue Moon, the film with Ethan Hawke, it's a good year for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
Continue on with the
Malvina.
lightning round.
This is from Malvina. I hope they show Sleepy City on Noir Alley. I've never seen it, but ages ago I worked in the morgue building in Bellevue. Once I had to take a nun, of all people, to the emergency room to be examined, and it would be no exaggeration to say it was like a war zone.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, and that her name is Malvina.
Malvina.
Malvina. Well, Malvina, I'll try to make that happen in 2026. I have a smaller inventory of Universal pictures to draw from than a couple of the other studios, so I don't always get all the Universal pictures that I want to show. But that, I would enjoy showing that. And boy, obviously they shot the whole movie in the hospital kind of after hours, and it makes you think like, wow, the world really was a different place because it's so quiet. It's not a war zone at all in the movie. It's like the tombs, it's like catacombs, and it's dark and it's creepy, because they obviously couldn't interfere with the actual workings of the hospital while they were shooting the movie. So it just seems oddly, um, I hate to use the word lifeless, for describing a hospital, but that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah,
But
and we
it's pretty
showed that
interesting
this
film.
year at the North City festivals, and I thought it was just a great film. I really enjoyed that
Yeah, it's
tremendously.
and it's very entertaining. I mean, I almost gave a spoiler there, but
No.
certainly has one of the great opening scenes in noir. Very unexpected, shocking opening scene in that movie. Um, anyway, so I'll thank you for the suggestion, and I will try to make that happen.
And this is from Joe. Any chance to might ever see Gaily, the semi-biography of Ben Hecht?
You mean the movie version?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never even seen it. I've read the book. I have the book is right over here on my shelf, but
Yeah.
I just had a feeling that couldn't be good. So I've never really sought it out.
Yeah.
But given that I think that Ben Hecht and Samuel Fuller are like two of my favorite people of the 20th century, and given that I should watch that movie, but I have not. So the lightning round is exposing me for all the things I haven't seen. Let's see what's next.
And this is from Ufi. Recently saw Detour,
I've
1945.
seen that.
I've seen it too, on Nor Alley. Why are some cars driving on the left side of the road when they are in the right-hand drive? Was this part of this filmed in Britain? And why wasn't this oddity mentioned in the intro?
Oh, because it's more fun. I didn't mention the intro because it's more fun. It's not anything I would mention in an intro, by the way. I might mention something like that in the outro, but I don't like to point out mistakes in the intro because it takes people out of the experience of watching the movie. And the reason for it was simply because Ulmer didn't, when they were shooting stuff, Ulmer didn't quite realize, maybe because he's a European, that in America, the idea is if you're traveling east to west, you are traveling right to left. And he just shot stuff and didn't realize that it wasn't going to match. If the car starts driving, this is just weird. It's because everybody orients themselves to a map. And I believe in the film, there is like a map that shows like the dotted line of Al Roberts going across country. And when he shot the stuff of the car driving, it was going left to right. And he realized it didn't match because it looked like he was backtracking. And the solution was just to flip the film. But of course, that flipping the film puts the car on the wrong side of the road. So he didn't care. He said, what the hell? It's going to be on screen for a few seconds. Nobody's going to notice, right? But here we are, 2025, and everybody notices, almost as much as they notice people sliding across bench seats to get out of the car on the sidewalk side instead of getting out of the driver's side. But that was.
Oh, I was watching something and someone mentioned that. And they said, oh, yeah, when I was growing up, we had like a bench like that. I really miss that. It was just so weird because oh my God, we always get that question on Ask Eddie.
Yep.
I was so shocked to hear someone say that in a different context. It was just like alarming. I was like, wait, what?
It's like Big Brother, Ann. It's just like your phone. You say something with your phone on in the house, and the next time you pick up, there's an ad for the thing you were talking about on the phone. It's scary. It's very creepy. But yeah, Big Brother is real.
Okay,
Okay, next.
Joe from San Francisco. Kind Hearts and Coronets with Alec Guinness, film noir or not? What do you think?
Shade. It's comedic. I mean,
it's a black comedy.
Did we show? We didn't show Kind Hearts and Coronets.
We showed the Lady Killers.
We showed the Lady Killers. That's right. Right. That was, but same vein. No, but here's an important thing. And Anne, you brought this up moments ago, and I was going to comment on it right then, but I didn't want to interrupt you. When you said you waited to see the red shoes on the big screen, thank you for saying that, because I hope people understand that when I show a film at Noir City, it's not only because I think it might qualify as a film noir. It's because it's a chance to show a film that I think is great or that needs to be seen on a big screen or something. And it's an opportunity to present these films to people who might not have seen them. And the Red Shoes, which I do not believe is a film noir, right? It's a musical with very noir themes and elements in it, but it's still a musical and it's about ballet. So, but damn, they did that restoration of the film, and it's like, you know what, and that was the one we did that was just about artists, all different types of artists. And so the psychodrama of this woman who gives her life over to the dance, and then it ends up, it has the requisite noir self-destruction.
And no, I think the film's theme is that men suck.
Well,
honestly, I walked out that film. I was so angry. So angry. It's like, both of you.
Yeah, I can see that. I
mean, there was no reason for the noir ending if they weren't both egotistical men that wanted to possess her.
True enough. A not uncommon theme in film noir, right?
Yeah, I mean, women get thrown to the wolves. It's so funny because everyone talks about the femme fatales, and it's just like, actually, film noir is really, really good at showing like the way women could be really like screwed.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, that's what's so interesting, because I feel that way about Crisscross. Like, I don't think of Anna in Crisscross as a femme fatale at all. She's this woman helplessly stuck between these two crazy dudes.
Yeah.
Who want her for themselves, and they're going to battle for her, and she just wants to get the hell out.
Yeah.
She's not causing any of this stuff to happen. They're the ones doing it. So I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, I just wanted to say something about you showing films on the big screen, because something, I have a confession to make. The first time I saw Out of the Past, which was years and years and years and years ago on videotape, I wasn't that impressed with it. But when you showed it on the big screen, I loved it. That really changed how I felt about that film. I don't know why. It just didn't impress me that much the first time I saw it. But for some reason, like when I sat up on the big screen, it just totally worked for me.
Well, I don't understand why people think that the immersiveness of a film, you're supposed to reserve that for spectacle. Like it's a big, you got to see it on a big screen. You got to see it in IMAX because it's big and shit explodes and, all this other stuff. It's like, I just want to see, I want to be immersed in the film. I want to kind of swim in the film, So it's always better to see a movie in a movie theater, always, no matter if it's Detour. Well, I just cited the one film that might actually be better on your TV at 3:00 in the morning. But,
yeah, I get that.
But you know what I mean? It's like Detour is so much about loneliness and isolation and everything that, like, watching it by yourself is not the worst way to see the movie. But, I just saw, I think I mentioned, I saw Paul Thomas Anderson's latest, One Battle After Another. And, that's a kind of film where somebody might argue, oh, I'll wait till it comes out, streaming or something. But I would argue no. I mean, it's far more engrossing when you watch it on a big screen.
No, no, totally. In fact, I'm going to. So Dust Bunny finally opened, which I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for. And it's with Mads Mikkelsen, and Brian Fuller wrote and directed it. Sigourney Weaver's in it, and David Malshin. But he plays a guy where this little girl lives next door to him, and he's like an assassin or something. And she comes to him and gives him money, says, "I want you to kill the monster because this monster under my bed killed my parents." Right, and that's sort of the premise of the film.
Oh,
and Mass is a huge Bruce Lee fan. He gets to do kung fu in it, so I'm real excited about that. I'm excited about that too. But and just like I've seen it, I've seen a little bit of the trailer. I didn't want to watch too much, but it looks gorgeous and stuff. But it's not playing in San Francisco because it's being released through Cinemark, and I guess they don't have one here anymore. So I'm literally after work tomorrow, I'm taking the BART to Daly City so I can see this movie in the theater because I want to see it on the big screen. I don't want to,
absolutely.
see it because most of Mass's like American films do not appeal to me at all. So it's like, I really want to see it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. They Hollywood doesn't really know what to do with these actors, with these foreign actors. It's just weird. I guess it shouldn't come as any surprise given the way our country is these days, but it's weird that all the foreign actors, they just get offered the roles as villains. Mm-hmm. No matter where they're from. They like Vincent Cassel, he's going to play a villain.
Yeah.
In a Hollywood movie. Mads is going to play the villain, and obviously most people first saw him in Casino Royale. Either
Casino Royale. Though no,
Casino
Royale was made
right?
him an international star. Yeah.
I
mean, the first thing I saw him in was Pusher, and then I didn't really see him in anything after that. And then when I watched him on Hannibal, I was like, this guy looks kind of familiar. And then I looked him up. I was like, oh my God. And I had seen Pusher like 20, 30 years before I ever saw Hannibal. And I was like, oh my God. And the thing was, I remembered him because it was the one scene in the film that I remembered vividly because he's in a parking lot with his friend. His character's a screw up, and he does this roundhouse kick and breaks his own ankle. And that had always stayed with me. And I was like, I can't believe this is the same guy, and then, I wound up watching another round when it came out. That, this Mads Mikkelsen guy. And then, as I want to become a huge Danish.
Yes.
Because of that.
What's the one he did? I really liked it. What's the one he did where he's the guy who's going to get revenge on the people who blew up the subway with his wife?
Oh, Riders of Justice.
Riders of Justice.
Yeah. That's Anders Thomas Jensen film, who I think is a brilliant writer director. And
that was a really good movie.
Yeah, and so he has The Last Viking, which hasn't come to the States yet, and that's his newest film. And Mass is in it, and of course Nicola Leykous is also in it, who is the guy with one arm or with the arm in Riders of Justice. Right. But and it's fun because he and Mass are actually playing brothers in this one. So I'm very excited to see it. Mass thinks he's John Lennon.
I'm probably not supposed to say this, but I'm trying to get TCM to bring my favorite actor in the world to the festival in April, Ricardo Darín from Argentina. And we'll see if that works out, because what's interesting about that is that he's never made a movie in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He refuses to do it because they only offer him roles as criminals and drug dealers.
Yeah.
Well, I guess those are the same thing.
Yeah.
But I that would just be awesome. That guy's made so many great films. But see, that's my point. He's like, Argentina's most popular movie actor, but in this country they would only cast him as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Is there any more to the lightning round?
No, that was it.
Okay. Then where are we?
And we are on Jerome from Portland asks, have you ever explained what expressionism is and how it's expressed? Does it affect storytelling as well as cinematography? A contrast would how some noir is described as realism.
Well, expressionism in cinema is a storytelling technique. Um, and yeah, I think I explained it once, and I found that once was enough because everybody says that, film noir has its roots in German expressionism and blah blah blah, and people just take that for granted without really knowing what the hell that means. But my interpretation of it, which I'm going to assume is the correct one, is just when you use external elements to express the internal state of the characters, that is expressionism. So it allows for an unrealistic, very artificial approach to art direction, set design, and cinematography, because you're more concerned about the state of mind that you're trying to express than in any sort of naturalism or realism. So, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is an example of expressionism. And what's interesting about that is, there once was a real artistic movement, that you could call expressionism. But in film noir, it really is just heightened art direction is what expressionism lent to film noir. So, you end up getting scenes that are lit in a way that has nothing to do with reality. It's just, it evokes a feeling of something, right? So it evokes the feeling that they want you to understand. This is from this character's perspective. This is the way they see the world, right? So and that's it. And yeah, I mean, Jerome says, a contrast would be how some noir is described as realism. I have never subscribed to this idea that noir films are realistic. It blows my mind when I read people say, oh, film noir brought a new sense of realism to the movies. They may have been dealing with more adult themes than the movies had dealt with to that degree previously, but there's nothing realistic about any of this stuff, right? Not the way they look, not the way they sound, not the way the people behave. It's not realistic. So I immediately cancel that out when it comes to film noir. There are many gritty crime dramas and realistic crime dramas, but that's not part and parcel of film noir.
No.
Okay. The next question is from Lee. And Lee says, in the movie Key Largo, does Lauren Bacall seem wooden to you? I mean, I really like wooden. He goes on to say he likes wooden, which is capitalized here. And I don't know if that means John Wooden or just Wooden. Okay. There's no emoting, so to speak. I've tried to interpret her character as remote, blah, 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 but I detect no hint of the Bogey Bacall fire from To Have and Have Not. Can you share backlot stories or insider info? But I really just want opinion. And Lee thinks that's an oxymoron to begin with. I think it's an oxymoron too, because I have opinions, but I'm certainly no expert. I think that's just the character, right? I mean, it's interesting that in except for To Have and Have Not, and to a lesser degree, The Big Sleep, I don't particularly think Lauren Bacall is all that sexy in her movies with Bogart, right? Or fiery or any of that stuff. It's just they wanted to make movies together and they found material that made sense. Like Dark Passage, she's almost kind of dowdy in Dark Passage, as dowdy as Lauren Bacall can be. And in Key Largo, she is the wife of the guy who's died in the war, and Bogart is coming, to, I forget exactly what he's supposed to be conveying for
What
his.
the hell is he doing there? I mean, something. It seemed
Well,
important.
but the thing that's interesting is, I've kind of read the stage play a couple of times, which is very, very different from the movie. And in the stage play, he is coming there to apologize for the death of her husband, because he feels his death is on his conscience, and he has a guilty conscience about the whole thing, and he's trying to atone, which is something they really, really downplay in the movie version, where it's more Bogart's playing his typical World War II vet, tough guy, who's going to stand up to the gangsters and everything. Frank McCloud is a far more complicated character in the play. And I just think that there was a lot of stuff lingering in the performances, probably from their understanding of the play more, than the movie. So I think it was just a conscious thing that they didn't want to play up like a romantic thing between them in the film. And I think that was probably a pretty good idea. Because the movie was about something else, unlike To Have and Have Not, which is just kind of about Bogart and Bacall, and it's an excuse for them to be fabulous together. Anyway, that's my interpretation. I like the movie. I'm not a colossal fan of the movie. I think the performers are all great, but I think it's a little arch. The whole thing is
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it, except for Claire Trevor. I mean,
oh yeah,
Claire Trevor is amazing
and
in that film.
Edward G.
And
Robinson
Edward G. Robinson is fantastic
is
too.
really
But
great.
yeah, I mean, there's things that it's not like, I don't know. I mean, you can kind of tell it was taken from a play.
Yeah, and a few years back, I saw a stage version of Key Largo, and no offense to the performers, Andy Garcia played the Edward G. Robinson character, but when you take the star power out and the cinematography and all that stuff, it's a little thin.
Yeah.
I mean, the plot and the whole contrivance of it is a little thin, so it doesn't quite hold up. I mean, in general, I love everybody's trapped in the hotel and the hurricane's bearing down. I love that kind of stuff normally. Anyway, I don't have any real backlot insider info, except that Lauren Bacall told me that they made the film because Houston and Richard Brooks had gone to Cuba and gotten totally fleeced by professional gamblers.
Yeah.
And they were flat broke. And Houston's solution was, let's sell Warner Brothers a picture. We'll reunite Bogart and Bacall, and we'll make us some fast money to get back on our feet. that was her explanation for how that happened. And but she said that was the story. But then I remember saying, "Wow," she said, "I believe that of John, but I can't believe that Richard Brooks lost all that money because he was the cheapest son of a bitch I knew." Oh, that was pretty good.
Okay. Are we ready for our next question?
You bet.
This is Jim from Hillsboro, Wisconsin. As all movie fans know, James Dean only made 3 movies during his short life and career, none of which could be categorized as noir. Had he lived, what noir roles could you imagine James Dean playing in the mid to late 50s? As a method actor like Eli Wallach, he could have portrayed a hitman in the lineup, which Wallach did. Or maybe Humphrey Bogart's younger brother holding a family hostage in The Desperate Hours. Dean did star in a TV drama, The Dark, Dark Hours, where he's a gunman holding physician Ronald Reagan hostage in his home while his partner in crime is dying of a gunshot. Dean's characters were always alienated loners, so he may have been ideal for a big screen noir if the studio system allowed him to make a movie that wasn't guaranteed to make a big money. Your thoughts on what your thoughts on James Dean and method actors in noir and neo-noir?
Okay. Wow. Jim, you snuck in a big question at the end of this very specific question. My thoughts on method actors in noir and neo-noir. Okay. James Dean was never going to make a small crime picture. When he broke through, if he had done it, it would have been before he made East of Eden. Because once he made East of Eden, there was no way he could do a small crime picture, right? Unless it was something like, on the waterfront, which is like borderline. Some people consider it to be noir, and that's all A-list talent, and it's a big production and everything. It's just, that wasn't going to happen, and I don't think he wanted to do that. I think when you look at those three movies, I mean, Rebel Without a Cause is the only one that's a small film, so to speak, right? Although it's interesting because when Rebel Without a Cause was conceived, it was not going to be a big Technicolor CinemaScope film. It was going to be a small black and white movie, and Warner Brothers didn't have a lot of faith in it, or they didn't have a lot of investment in it. Let's put it that way. And then East of Eden hit, and they, Nick Ray wanted to make Rebel Without a Cause with Dean, and then they started funneling more money into it to kind of pump it up and turn it into a bigger A-list production. So in some ways, Rebel Without a Cause is as close to a film noir. It's not, but it's as close to a film noir as Dean was going to get. I mean, when you think about it, it's an alienated loner in a new town who gets involved with a gang, and then a guy dies, and then the police get involved, and there's a tragedy at the end. I mean, it has the elements of a it's not a noir, but it has more elements like that small minimalist film with tragedy lurking at the edges. So I haven't seen this show where he's with Ronald Reagan. Now I got to look for that. I've seen some of Dean's earlier TV performances, and they're kind of interesting. But the other day I saw a quote. I'd never read this before, from Kazan, where somebody was asking him about like comparing Brando and James Dean, and saying, that they were kind of the same. And Kazan said, no, they weren't at all. And I'm not really paraphrasing, but I'm going to say this more bluntly than Kazan did. He said, Brando was troubled. Dean was sick. That's what he thought. He thought he really had like a sickness, like there was something so deeply traumatized in him that everything that happened felt kind of inevitable with James Dean. So, and he just wasn't an easy person to work with or live around or anything. So anyway, I don't have any real deep thoughts about method actors in noir. It's sort of a case of you do what you have to do to get the results that you need. And if some people need to do all of that business and find their comparables and dive into their own personal experiences to draw out the real emotions and all that, fine. Other people just act, they just pretend. That's all it is. It's like I had an imagination. I can just pretend, what was Cagney's thing, stand up straight, look the other actor in the eye, and tell the truth.
There you go.
That was his description of acting, so anyway, I don't, I'm not disdaining your question, Jim, at all. It's just that I don't spend a lot of time theorizing about what if they had lived and played these, what other roles would they have played? Because I don't, my brain doesn't work that way. All right. Last question is from Paul. He says, I really look forward to Noir Alley every week. Thank you, Paul. I always enjoy your presentation and the film, of course. Would you clarify once and for all the differences and similarities between noir and crime films? He says they are separate genres, but I'm not sure. Noir pretty much is crime films, but they're just done in a different way.
Yeah.
The approach, or as a director might say, the attack on these films is different. And from a writer's standpoint, the key thing about noir, from a writing standpoint, not a visual standpoint, is that it allowed the protagonists to be the antagonists, so that villains became the main characters in the story, right? I mean, that's kind of what it's all about. And when Hollywood accepted that, like, well, people seem to want to see these movies, like Double Indemnity, where the murderers are the main characters. That was not a common thing at all in movies before the noir movement. And then, of course, there's the way they look, because crime films don't have to look like that. There's no, it was just the artists themselves deciding, we like this. We like telling the stories this way. We like the way the movies look. I mean, I don't want to downplay it, but in some respects, just the visual thing, it was something that happened for a while, and it's like, why are all movie posters today the same? Mm-hmm. Why are they all slightly yellow, and they all have what I call the pile of humans? It's like one big head looming over a pile of other figures, and everybody looks very serious, and then it's all done in a computer, it's all photoshopped, and then they tint it all yellow, and that's your movie poster. It's like, why? It's just because for a while it becomes the standard. Like, that's what people accept. That's what people not accept. It's what people expect. And it just happens, I think the noir movement was a little more significant than, this example I just gave, but that's pretty much it, so that's why I separate all these things that are kind of noir stained or noir adjacent, or westerns that feel like noir and war movies that feel like noir. All of that's interesting, because it's very true that the artistic movement had ripple effects on other genres and other types of films, but by and large, that was the key thing. I'm sorry, I just something popped into my mind and I kind of lost track of where I was going with that. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, yes. That's where it's at. Okay. So I think did we go, or did we go right on time? We went once again. It's freaky, Anne. It's like freaky. I don't even look at the clock, and yet we managed to always be like 5 minutes, give or take, of 90 minutes doing these things. It's kind of interesting. Okay. Our internal clocks.
Our internal clock. Okay, so I finally got to see the last 3 episodes of Pluribus.
Oh, okay. So what do you think?
I enjoyed it very much. I kind of felt like the little foray into Las Vegas felt really pointless.
Oh, wait, I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay.
I haven't seen that one yet. Yeah.
But I did enjoy the very clever Patrick Fabian cameo they
Oh,
managed.
yes, I was telling you about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now I have
yeah.
to ask, did you know that was him when the call came through? Right?
Well, what happened
Right?
was
Because he's the voice on
he's the voice. He's on the
phone
on the
machine, on the
messages.
message
Yeah, and
machine.
well, basically what happened was the scene happened, and Ted said, "I wonder what Eddie meant by an Easter egg." And I said, "Well, let's listen to the voice." And then we went back and I listened to the voice. I was like, "Oh my God, that's Patrick Fabian."
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I
So when I
certainly I didn't
focused
know.
on it, I could hear it because oh my God, it's Patrick Fabian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I realized it later when I was reading something, an interview with her or something where she said they played a joke on me because they didn't tell
Oh, they didn't
her.
tell her. So
They
when
didn't tell her that it was him. So when she hears the message, she's kind of her take is sort of like, "This do I know this guy? What is this?" She goes, "It sounds like Patrick." And yeah, that was pretty cool.
so I
Okay,
enjoyed
I'm
that, and also I've been watching. I think it's called The Criminal Cases of Agatha Christie. It's a French series, and it's sort of a follow up to The Little Murders of Agatha Christie. So it's set in the late 1950s and then into the early 60s. And so they're all Agatha Christie stories, but they've been adapted in, and they follow Swan, who's a police detective, and April, who is a journalist, and then Swan's secretary, who's great. Anyway, they are so much fun, and it's really fun to see how they adapted the stories because I'm so familiar with all the stories. So it's fun to see like how they adapt it because of course they have to adapt it so that they can work in the three characters.
and
Yeah.
the show is set in France, not in
It's
England.
set in French. No, it's French. The French are
Oh,
big on
cool.
Agatha Christie, and they're good at adapting Agatha Christie. And some of these were, frankly, the best adaptations of the stories.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did you see this?
It's on MHC,
Oh,
so
perfect.
you got
I
it.
will check it out. I will
And the
definitely check it out.
costuming and set design is beautiful. And the other thing I like is he has a sports car, so every time they're driving, they don't do it like on a trailer. Instead, they do it like on a green screen, but it looks old fashioned. It looks like
Oh,
they're driving
interesting.
through the movie and stuff. So I loved that because everything else is shot, on set, really
Mhm.
natural looking. But I love it that every time he gets in this car, it immediately feels like an old movie. And they're obviously
Fantastic.
doing that purposefully.
And how many are there?
I think there's like 15.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
I've
Now
been
I
like
have my new
binging them.
watch. My new
Yeah.
watch of
Oh,
it.
yeah. I think you'll really enjoy
And each episode is how long?
an hour and a half. So it's a movie.
Yeah, it's so interesting that the French do that. The French do 90-minute episodes of these in these series. They don't do the 60-minute thing that we do in this country. Each one, like with all those McGrath things that I loved so much, they were all 90 minutes long. So it
Yeah,
literally was like 8 seasons of movies.
and
It was
that's what this is
fantastic.
too. And yeah, and also I think especially if you're adapting like a novel for each episode, yeah, it does need to be an hour and a half.
Yeah, they're
Even
not
though
shortchanging anything.
there was from the age of live TV back in the 50s, they did do, and then there were none, and it was like I think it was an hour episode, so it wound up being like maybe 45 minutes. It was hilarious to see them rushing through, and then there were none. Because of course the reason why this book is great is the buildup of the tension.
Did you ever see that episode of the Avengers that was a takeoff on and then there were none? Where
You know,
they all went to the island and everybody starts being picked off
oh
one by one, all the
yeah, that's the
guests.
one when one of the guys is Janice. That
Yeah,
they're
I
in
think
costume,
so.
right?
But
Yeah,
but
yeah, I remember that
but
one.
it's so wild because Donald Sutherland is in that episode. He's one of the actors in that episode. It's pretty amazing.
I have to go back and watch it because I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No, I
I
mean, yeah. And then there was none has done so many times, so
yeah.
many times. I mean, adapted outright, but also just taken off of, you know.
What did you watch the most recent Poirot theatrical, I mean not the film adaptation of Death on the Nile? Did you see that the new one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, my heart goes out to you. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through the first 15 minutes. It was so over directed and so overdone that it was just like, enough with this thing.
Yeah.
I just gave up.
No, it's terrible. And also he is like,
hated
and
it.
he has no understanding of the character. None. It is like the most frustrating thing in the world because you just not understand the character like on a very basic level. And it's like, and plus
That's Kenneth Branagh, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why he can't get it together, but I want him to stop. I want him and I want Sarah Phillips in England to stop doing Agatha Christie stories.
It's a paycheck. It's a paycheck. I mean,
yeah,
he's a very, very
the
talented guy, but it is a paycheck.
No, I think this is really he's a huge Agatha Christie fan. He really wants to be doing it. I do not understand how he does not understand the damn character.
Maybe you need to write an article for the Noir City magazine about. You should, Anne. You should write an article about Agatha Christie adaptations and make the case that Agatha Christie was a noir writer.
Yeah.
Or at least write about the ones where the stories are more noir than other ones. Obviously you're going to have a hard time convincing people that Miss Marple is noir, but
I don't know. I mean, Miss Marple's really dark and she's
well, yeah, but I'm saying is in the books, but everybody's take on it is, Margaret Rutherford and all this, and she's the sweet little old lady detective.
Yeah, but that's why Joan Hickson was so great as Marple, because Joan Hickson played that darker aspect of Miss Marple, which is just part. I mean, Miss Marple's an incredibly cynical person.
Well, I'm giving you an idea for an article. Let's do it. 2,500 words. Your deadline is next week. Okay, I got to run because I'm starving. I'm starving and I need a cocktail. After all this talk of cocktails and gin fizzes and all this and canned gin and tonics, I'm going to go down and make myself a martini. So
that sounds good.
There we go. No guest stars this week.
No. Emily just was. People probably couldn't see because she was on a red pillow, which was not visible. So I think she came into frame at the end. But yeah,
interesting. So, I heard back that remember last time I showed the photo of me and my sister with Steven Spielberg and Richard Dreyfuss. Spielberg has seen the picture now, and he remembered the day. I mean, it's funny because he was very clever. He said, "Oh, I remember that. I remember the day." He didn't say that he remembered me. And he did ask about my sister, like who is the woman again? But anyway, that was kind of
very cool.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna do this again pretty soon.
Yeah, hopefully in 2 weeks. So we'll be.
Let's do it on Christmas. Let's just do it on Christmas. What the hell? I'm not doing anything else.
My brother's coming to town to be with me for Christmas. I'm very happy.
Oh, yeah. Great. That's nice. That's very nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I'll see you. Who knows? Maybe I'll see you over the holidays. But
I'm pretty sure you'll see me at North City Christmas.
Great. That'll be fun. Look forward to it. The festival is pretty much set. Everything is good. We're ready to rock and roll.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks everybody.
Good night.
Good night.